Morning. So I thought I'd take probably one of the last opportunities this year to sit outside and record. I'm just sitting under the gazebo in the garden. So what I wanted to cover on this video was really to, if you're watching this and you're in the UK and you're on a salary, you're probably realising that the salary that you're on, even if you've had a kind of standard pay rise, just isn't going as far as it used to. And what that then means in terms of like your lifestyle, your standard of life, and then your quality of life, because you could feel like you're on a treadmill going nowhere. Like if you're going backwards financially, you're not able to do as many things as you were able to do 5 or 6 years ago. It can be quite demoralizing on your well-being. So what I did before coming on this video is I was looking at just taking like one salary, one person's lived experience, and just using that as like a way to kind of explore really what's happening. So when I was qualified as a social worker, and when I went into my first role, and it was actually about 15 years ago now, my starting salary, and this was for a permanent role, right? I could have actually earned double this as a temp, but I went permanent, and my permanent salary at that time was £32,000. The average price of a house back then was £165,000. So that was the salary that I was earning. It would have been 5.5 years of my salary to pay for what would have been the average house price. I live in an area of the UK where it's really expensive. I mean, I think when they do the average house prices here, they're taking into account, all of the north where things are like infinitely more cheaper. So I would say this is probably more than this, because say like in my village now, I think there's only like a couple of houses that are under 500,000 here. Yeah, and obviously that's now, but we've got to take into account that average house price is bringing in all of the northern houses, which you can buy a lot cheaper. So it's probably more. Then cut to today, on that same salary, I went in and I looked at what are they paying social workers now when they're starting. And it is 38,000 as a starting salary, because I looked at quite a few of them. So they would have a range of a salary, and it was like 38 to 48. But if I'm looking at this in terms of what would have been me starting again 15 years later, or like a new person coming in as a qualified social worker, that's only £6,000, isn't it? £6,000 a year. But the average house price is now no longer 165,000, it's 272,000. Let that sink in. I mean, we all need to live somewhere, and I haven't done this in relation to rent or whatever, because that's another whole ball game, but the rent has equitably gone up, hasn't it? Because when house prices go up, landlords have to then cover the mortgage, and how do they cover that? By putting the rent up. So I have friends that are renting, and their rent has increased as well, like several £100s a year. A month actually, and then it goes up by thousands a year. So even at that, because the biggest cost, why I wanted to do it in relation to housing, is that housing here in the UK is our biggest cost. It's our biggest expense that comes out. So just based on that, you can see how the cost of living is now so much more expensive here in the UK. So when I first started my job, I was going out to dinner several times a week. I was living the life of Riley. We were going on holiday. We had a really nice car. I felt like I was actually earning a salary that was where I could actually get somewhere and actually do something and enjoy myself. But anybody coming in now into social work and getting that starting salary of 38, they're not going to be able to do that, they're not going to have that experience that I had 15 years ago. And that just shows how things have changed. And then, of course, we haven't even factored in how all of our gas and electric's gone up, how our, petrol, diesel has gone up, the cost of cars has gone up, the cost of any type of service has gone up. And before, if like we wanted to go out and eat, we could go out to a restaurant and have a really nice meal for what would have been like an hour's pay or something. And now it's like, it's easily 100 quid if you want to go out. So like if we wanted to go to a good restaurant and have like, I do like to have a couple of glasses of wine, it's £100 to eat out. And it's like, so yeah, our standard of life here in the UK has really, really changed. And this brings me on to why, I'm really glad that I came out of my social work career, because yes, I wouldn't be on that 32k or the 38 because of the amount of experience I've had, but equitably, my whatever I was bringing in was going to be worth less anyway because of the amount of changes that have happened and how the price of everything's gone up. So what I really like about running a business is that I currently now, while I'm speaking to you on camera, I have my Google ads running, and I have an aim this week to increase my revenue by £1,000 for this month. You can't do that with a salary. You can't do that with a job, and you're kind of committed into doing that full time. So more than ever, I think it's important now, if you want to have a reasonable standard of living, if you feel like what you're earning is just not going far enough and you're feeling disillusioned, have a think about skilling up and learning some new skills where you can earn in a different way and potentially earn through business. That's what I would really recommend now, because it's the only way I can think of. The likelihood of winning the lottery is very, very minimal, but the likelihood of being able to earn through a side hustle or through running a business is a lot higher. So I just want you to kind of hold that thought and see that, in these difficult times, there is ways around this. And so like when you're running a business, the sky's the limit in terms of what you can actually generate in terms of, your revenue per month, that you can grow it, and then you can kind of cut above the noise of what's happening with all the, the house prices and the cost of things, because you can generate more money in your business. So hold that thought, bear that thought in mind. And also, if you're watching this and you're kind of in your 50s or your 60s and you're like, oh, I'm too old. You're never too old. You're never too old to do it, because when you're in your kind of, like I'm going to be 50 in 2 years' time. And with that, you bring all of your life experience to the table, all of the learning that you've done in your career over that time. And most people go into kind of entrepreneurship in their 40s, 50s, sometimes even in their early 60s. So I wouldn't want you to think it's not for you, because you're like, oh, I'm just going to ride it out and put up with it. No, you can actually do something about it if you want to. So what I'm actually planning to do is, I think it was one of my previous videos, it took me a very, very long time to start a business because I couldn't find out the formula of how to actually put all the pieces together to create a business. And it was that it just felt like oblivion. It's like it was like just this abyss, and there wasn't that much information actually back then. YouTube wasn't what it was today. But even on YouTube, what I found is that there's no comprehensive, real strategy for the whole process of starting a business. And I've decided that I want to put that together, because more than ever now here in the UK, the job market, as we've just explored, the job market just isn't doing it. it doesn't bring you financial security, and for all the time that you commit, it's not even giving you a good lifestyle outside, where you could go and like have a really nice meal and then have loads of money left over at the month and save and, you know, invest in property. You know, people are, for the bulk of people are just getting by really now. So I want to actually put together the beginning parts of that to actually eventually be a course by the end of the year, and hopefully have the bulk of it ready by the end of the year to go live in January, to help people basically to find a different way around. So yeah, that was just my thoughts for today. Interested in any of your comments if you've done that, you know, the difference in your lifestyle and your quality of life and your standard of life in the last 10 years, how you've noticed the changes, and if in fact your salary has gone essentially down. Yeah, interested to hear your comments. So see you next time.